Well, hello, Internet. On the last episode, we did a lot of exciting things. Pythagorean theorem is a way that you would solve the sides of your triangle, b squared plus b squared equals c squared. Use a simple algebraic equation, which is c squared minus a squared equals b squared. I mean, I know how much you guys just love math, but I thought I would take the time in this episode to swap it up a bit and kind of make this little tech demo thing I've been working on at least have the looks of a game. And what games need is art. And what you are about to see is probably the loosest definition of that term. So we got our little nondescript Tetris block here, and so I've drawn all these layers, and I thought I would reveal them one at a time so you can bask in the greatness, which is I. So first we got a mouth. Look at those clean lines. We got an eye that's perfectly smooth and elliptical, and then we got a pupil, which is your classic dot, and then we got an arm there. Look at that. You got a little elbow. That's cute. I have to say, pretty fucking amazing. We got a hand, and then we got some legs, and that glorious ass, and you got the crack there. And basically, what I do is I draw every single thing in layers in GIMP. The reason I do that is so when I import it into Spriter Pro, I can just kind of move the transform positions around a bit and kind of get a lot more bang for my buck when it comes to animation. And let me add the eyebrow there. And so, like, basically, when I'm in Spriter, I'm moving these transform positions, and I'm also swapping out sprites. So, like, I have the legs on its own layer, so, I'm legless! But then I can have, like, that one, which is, like, the start of his walk. And then, you know, that's what he's going to look like when he jumps. And that's another, like, walking animation thing I'm working out. And there's another one. And then that weird, I don't know what he's doing. His heel's going up his butt. I'm far from an artist. And here's what my block boy here looks like in Spriter. So this is kind of like my animation tool of choice for the moment. I got it in a part of a Humble Bundle, and I think it's pretty cool. It basically allows me to just make keyframes of the little layer drawings I've done. So basically all this is all those different drawings I did, exported, and then layered in Spriter. And what's cool is, like, on keyframes you can just do different stuff. So, like, I'm moving his arm up as a part, but I could also, like, tilt the whole body down at this keyframe. Why would I want to? I don't know, but I can. And then Spriter does all of its magic, and oh, look at it, he looks like he's doing something very disgusting. So we will stop that one in its tracks. So we have a little running animation here that I've thrown together, which I'm basically, all I'm doing for this one is at each keyframe I'm slightly moving the arm, and then I'm just swapping out the leg sprites there. And yeah, look at those, beautiful. Look at that. Oh man, let's slow it down. Oh, I think that sped it up. Let's slow it down. Oh, that speeds it up even more. Even though it is my tool of choice, I really don't know how to use it. And this is what our little block boy looks like in game. Let me just hit play there. Oh yeah, and I just basically right here I just Googled grass, and I slapped on my little world script there, since it pretty much works on anything rectangular. And yeah, this is my dude. He just, like, now he runs and jumps around. And I added a few things code wise. One thing, the camera acts a little bit different. Like, I was having the camera just completely follow the position of the player, but now I kind of have a little, like, breathing room, so it only follows the player if it hits a certain threshold. But, like, other than that, the game's pretty much the same. I also added a little hang time to the jump, because it was just, like, hitting its max position and then falling straight down, and I added him a little hang time there so he can do that, stuff like that, you know, some more advanced jumps. And it honestly, it's amazing what just a little shitty couple drawings can do to actually make a little garbage tech demo look more like a game that you could download for free on a site that will give you a bunch of viruses. Well, I bet you thought you would make it all the way through this video without seeing some code. Well, you, sir, are sadly mistaken. I'm just going to go over the two major things that I've changed. One is the jump hang time. I've also added some things for the animator. That's how I'm swapping the sprites, which I wasn't doing before because, well, I didn't have any animations. But we won't really go into that. But the big thing is the jump hang time. So I've added some variables up here for the player, the jump time and then jump hang time variables. The jump time is set to 0f at the start. That's a float. And the jump time is how long the player has held down the spacebar to jump. And then the jump hang time is the maximum amount of seconds the player can jump. So right when the player hits spacebar, I start keeping track of the time the players hit spacebar. So this jump time plus equals time dot delta time. And this is just keeping track of how long the player's held down the key. Used to, once the player hit its maximum jump height, which is right here, it would just say, "Oh, stop jumping. You're falling now." Well, now I'm saying if you haven't hit your max jump height, keep ascending. But once you hit that max jump height, check to see how long they've held down the space bar. And if the space bar hasn't hit the max jump hang time, which is the time that we've defined up here of 0.255f, which is the number I pulled completely out of my ass, keep jumping. And then if you don't match any of these, then your jumping's over and then you start falling. So that's the hang time. I've also changed how the camera follows the player. Originally, the camera was just tracking the player. So if the player moved, the camera moved with the player, and the player was always in the center of the shot. And that's not really how platformers work. Like old platformers, they kind of just scrolled once the player got to the edges of the screen. And so that's basically what I've done here. I have this method that I wrote called view limits. And I'm just saying the far left of the view window that the player's seeing, and the far right of the view window, and the top and the bottom. So what this method is doing is getting the bounds of the window. And then in my update, each time I'm running my view limits, because when the camera moves, the limits will move, because this is keeping track of the actual transform position of these edges. And then it's basically once the player position hits a certain threshold, the camera moves at the same speed as the player. And that's pretty much all it is. Like the script move speed. The script move speed comes from the player script. So over here in the player script, I have a variable called move speed. And then in my camera, I'm getting that move speed. Well, I'm actually getting the whole player class here. And I'm just moving my camera position by the player's move speed. So instead of actually snapping to the player, I'm just gradually moving once the player moves into certain thresholds. And so there we have it, and that gives us this sweet little dude with his arms waving around, and he jumps and he hangs up in the air a bit, and he still lands on stuff, and he still rotates just like all the other stuff. One thing that we have to deal with, the way I'm calculating if the player's over something needs some work, and I'll show you an example of it right here. See how the player's feet's not on it? Well, since the way I'm tracking the width of the player, technically anything that this hand is over, the player is over, so it will snap to it. So I'll be working on that, but for the most part, I mean, this is a pretty decent feeling platformer, and I mean, for just dicking around, I'm pretty happy with it. Well, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Well, this has been another episode of Worthless Unity Challenge, and everything seems to be shaping up to be a fairly garbage game that you might play on itch.io or something like that. So I'm having a lot of fun making this stuff. Anyone who wants to check out my code, go to my GitHub. It's in the video. Anyone who has any questions, feel free to put them in the comments or send me a direct message. I'm willing to talk about code all day, day. Thanks for watching.